Coming up, it is still unknown how long part of a major roadway will be closed.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Yesterday, officials with the Department of Highways closed a section of the busy Mountain Parkway due to a sinkhole. Westbound lanes are closed in Wolf and Powell counties from exit 40 at Pine Ridge to exit 33 in Slade. WYMT's Emily Bennett has the latest.
Drivers traveling west on the Mountain Parkway will need to add a little extra time.
What they discovered was that a big sinkhole basically developed beneath the road surface.
Wednesday, officials with the Department of Highways shut down the westbound lanes of the Parkway from exit 40 in Wolf County to exit 30 in Powell County.
We thought that the asphalt patching that we had done there had taken care of that dip. But then when it kept worse, realized, well, there's something going on underneath here that we can't see.
Closing for the safety of travelers as the road is cracking and eroding.
We need to know what happened, what caused it, to be able to come up with some kind of permanent repair that will make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Traffic is being detoured onto Kentucky 15 at exit 40. Officials warning the drive is windy, encouraging truckers to find another route.
You've got a very steep hill with a couple of sharp hairpin curves.
Kentucky 15 is also closed southbound, going up Slade Hill, pushing drivers to use the eastbound lanes of the Parkway.
Just in that area where those curves are, local traffic will be able to get from Slade up the last residence before you start up the hill.
Asking travelers to be patient as they find a fix. In Powell and Wolf counties, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Updates on the repairs will be posted on the Department of Highways District 10 Facebook and Twitter pages.
A little bit on the gloomy side today throughout the mountains, but the rain has moved out of here and now we're starting to see a little bit of that fog build up heading into the rest of those overnight hours. As you look at that UVA WISE camera, you can see that fog starting to build up a little bit, especially in those low-lying areas. And as we look outside or into downtown Whitesburg, you definitely see that fog building up. You could barely see that mountain down there. So watch out for that patchy dense fog late tonight, early tomorrow too, especially if you're heading out in the morning. Now we have seen the rain move out of here, a few stray rain chances possible tonight, but overall we really start to dry out, especially heading into your Friday and into the weekend. It was a little bit cooler today. Actually only got to a high of 79 in Jackson, a much needed break from the heat. 72 right now in Jackson and Hazard. 70 Pikeville, already into the upper 60s into Harlan and Wise, near 74 in London. But we kind of have that thicker cloud cover over us too. With that fog, it'll keep us into about the upper 60s to lower 70s tonight, and we'll hang on to just a few rain chances, but really should start to dry out heading into the rest of those overnight hours. We'll see more sunshine heading into tomorrow, and especially by the time we get into the weekend. Hot temperatures though return just in time for the weekend. We'll also see more scattered showers and thunderstorms for that new work week. I'll have a look at that full 7-day forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. Around 144,000 Americans have now died from the coronavirus, and the Centers for Disease Control projects as many as 30,000 more deaths in the U.S. in the next 3 weeks. And President Trump announces he's canceled the Jacksonville, Florida portion of the Republican convention. CBS's Chris Martinez has the latest from Los Angeles.
The number of known coronavirus cases in the U.S. since the pandemic began has crossed the 4 million mark. Worldwide, the U.S. by far has the most reported cases, followed by Brazil, India, and Russia. Cases are now also surging along the U.S. Gulf Coast, including Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama. Maryland's Republican governor expressed criticism of the Trump administration's handling of the pandemic.
The biggest mistake in the first couple months was not developing a national testing strategy. Throughout the pandemic was not assisting the states enough with testing.
People elected me to help and to protect.
At the White House, President Trump announced he's canceling the Jacksonville portion of the Republican National Convention set for next month as Florida struggles with the virus.
And I'll still do a convention speech in a different form but we won't do a big crowded convention per se. It's just not the right time for that.
For the nomination, the president said a meeting of delegates will be held in the convention's originally planned location, Charlotte, North Carolina. As businesses everywhere try to survive, hair salons in hard-hit California have been allowed to move outdoors with restrictions.
Everything seems really safe and they're taking a lot of precautions. I felt comfortable and here I am.
And Thursday night, coronavirus task force member Dr. Anthony Fauci helped start Major League Baseball's shortened season. With no fans in the stands, Fauci threw out the ceremonial first pitch for the opening game between the defending champions, the Washington Nationals, and the New York Yankees. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
In a statement on the cancellation of the Jacksonville portion of the Republican National Convention in Jacksonville, Florida, Democratic Party Chair Terry Rizzo said in part, quote, "I'm glad Donald Trump took his head out of the sand long enough to realize what a predictable, preventable disaster he was about to inflict on the city of Jacksonville," unquote. Kentucky's number of coronavirus cases continues to increase. The governor announced 611 new cases today. The state's total is now at 25,147. Laurel County surpassed 300 cases today. We also learned 7 more Kentuckians have died, raising the state's death toll to 684. And the state's positivity rate now sits at 4.94%. Governor Beshear says he is hopeful by next week we will begin to see the impact from the mandatory mask mandate. Today, officials announced one more positive case at the Federal Correctional Institute in Manchester. Officials say 43 inmates and 5 guards have tested positive for COVID-19. 1 inmate is in the hospital and 5 are showing mild symptoms. Officials say while the facility is working to keep the spread under control, they are unable to confidently pinpoint where the first case came from.
We think there was probably asymptomatic spread somewhere at some point. And there's a couple of different ways that could have happened, potentially with a staff person that works directly with the inmates. We're just not sure at this point.
Officials say they did learn one of the guards is a Clay County resident. All of the positive cases are secluded to one part of the prison. Bell County now has 210 cases of COVID-19 with 8 new ones announced today. The Bell County Health Department reported this county's second COVID-19 related death as well, a 74-year-old woman. We spoke with officials today who say the county is experiencing community spread and it is hard to pinpoint and isolate one location the cases are coming from.
Most of our cases are symptomatic and they're not all single traced to one event. We're seeing some that the folks, contracted at work from a coworker. We've seen multiple cases where one family member, was positive and then ultimately infected the entire family.
Currently, the county has 92 active COVID-19 cases with 118 recoveries. Health Department officials urge people to continue to wear masks and social distance to help slow the spread. It's been almost 1 year since the Garrett family has heard from Krista Garrett. The 33-year-old woman was last seen walking near a Marathon gas station in Prestonsburg in August 2019. She is 4'11", has strawberry blonde hair, and was wearing jeans, a red or orange shirt, and white Nikes. Detectives with Kentucky State Police are investigating her disappearance.
We just want to reach out to the public and ask if anyone has any information or any tips about the whereabouts or disappearance of Krista Garrett. Please come forward at this time. You can contact us at the Kentucky State Police, 606-433-7711. All tips can remain anonymous.
And again, that number is 606-433-7711. 4 workers at the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Airport were injured after a lightning strike yesterday. It hit outside the DHL hub, and none of the employees were seriously hurt, the company said, but they received medical care as a precautionary measure. Law enforcement is often a thankless job, and while officers do get some complaints, they receive a lot of support as well. That's what 13-year-old Madison Daniels from Harlan County is doing. Daniels started Madison's Officer Fun page on Instagram in January. On Daniels' page, she asked for donations for meals and snacks to take to different departments. She also has an Amazon wish list with items departments need, like first aid kits, flashlights, and even items for their canine units.
My papa, Jerry Fee, was the police officer for Harlan City Police, and he would tell me stories, and I realized how much police officers are disrespected and unappreciated.
It's people like Madison who actually gives us the courage and the hope that tomorrow will be a better place.
Madison has donated items and goodie bags to the Harlan and Bell County Sheriff's Departments, Middlesboro, Pineville, and Harlan City Police, and State Police Post 10. There are still a lot of unanswered questions as we prepare for a new school year. During a virtual town hall, the Kentucky Department of Education hoped to clear up some of those concerns. Jim Stratman sat in on that meeting.
As inconvenient as they are less inconvenient than not having our students attend school and not having the many other benefits that go along with school.
Kentucky Department of Education officials took their plans for this new school year to the public. A town hall going over guidance that's been discussed with teachers and superintendents in the last couple of weeks.
At the heart of every school reopening plan should be the health and safety of every child, every adult in the building, and all of the families that they go home to at night.
We cannot guarantee safety. We can reduce risk, and we can reduce risk effectively, and we can reduce risk substantially, or let's use a different word, a lot.
KDE officials released documents containing guidance on their website regarding mandatory mask wearing, temperature screenings before students enter the buildings, and social distancing inside the classrooms. Many of the same topics brought up today.
If you have a student sitting in front of a desk for an hour and coughing and sneezing and rubbing their nose and touching the desk, and if you place another student there right after them and you haven't wiped that surface, there's a very good chance there could be virus deposited in sufficient quantity on that surface.
Officials said that school funding will be based on the last 2 years' attendance, and participation will be the new metric that's submitted to the department this year. The Department of Education will add questions and answers from today's town hall to their frequently asked questions page on their website. Reporting in Lexington, Jim Stratman, WKYT.
During Governor Beshear's update today, he said if cases continue to rise, he may recommend schools with an early August start date push back their opening. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, for those of you looking for a reason to get out of the house, we'll take you to a local business that combines fun and the outdoors.
And we'll dry out for your Friday. Hot temperatures return for the weekend. I'll have a look at that forecast coming up.